Both my parents, both my father's mother and my mother's grandmother were from Flanders. And that's my dad. This is the beginning of the undressing part. I was born in a small village, right on the Belgian border on February 1955. Back then, this was staunch Catholic country. Two of my aunts were nuns. A third married an ex-Trappist monk. The rest of my family were working-class craftsmen, gardeners, bakers, milkmen, electricians, but voted for the Catholic People's Party rather than the Socialists. In 1974, I was the first in my family to go to university. I was more into sports than into politics in this radical era. For many others who entered community arts in the Netherlands from the radical cultural front, it was precisely the other way around. They came from middle-class intellectual backgrounds and were ideologically, emphatically on the left. I stumbled upon it later, first naively running into some pretty disturbing realities in Central America while backpacking, and then discovering bread and puppet theater, Dario Fo, and a few fascinating people within a worldwide popular political theater movement spread throughout the West. Now let's leave that inconclusive story dangling for now in the midst of 30 years ago, when I had considerably more hair.
And because I was fighting with friends, I was fighting with enemies, and I was fighting with the police, but mostly I was fighting with myself. You know, I was hard on the outside, but I was hurting on the inside. And I was so angry. I was angry at my family. I blamed my mother for all of her faults. You know, and I had so much guilt for all of mine. And who's living the remnants of the past? And see, when we're fighting each other, you know, who are we really fighting? What's ours? And what's theirs? We don't see things as they are, but as we are. And I too. I am the ripple effect. I'm the past, and I'm the future. I'm the now, and I am the now.
Thank you, Chris, for allowing me to share this clip.
Down, down. Mubarak, down. Mubarak, down. All the way. This is the smallest. Then the sign says, go because my feet started to hurt. There were some weddings in Tahrir Square. Have you heard about this? No? Some people chose to celebrate their wedding in front of a tank in Tahrir Square. These are creative ways that people invented to prevent them from the stones that were being thrown on them. And that was hilarious. That was a guy who pretended to be an Indian. Can we put the volume up?
This clip goes on for a little while. I'm just going to turn it silent. In 1986 and 87, I didn't quite know where I stood, ineffectively grappling to understand what I was witnessing, which included some pretty bloody things and way too many funerals. I guess I was closer to Giuliano then than I am now. Or maybe I'm not. But I had no stake in the Philippines other than friendships that last to this very day, and awe for art with a purpose. And all I felt capable of at the time was reporting to the outside world what was happening, and supporting a few Filipino artists to travel to New Zealand, Australia, and later to Europe, so they could tell their own tale. I returned to the Netherlands in May 1988 after having worked 12 years abroad. My last stop had been India. After long detective work, I had tracked down playwright and cultural activist Sardar Hashmi, and had spoken to him about his dream of building a community arts center in a working-class district of Delhi. To this day, and I hear they are finally about to open the community arts center he had been dreaming of. Later in 1989, I co-produced a European tour of 15 progressive Asian Pacific performing artists from 10 different countries. It was called Cry of Asia and included a Tamil artist whom James Thompson also wrote about. It was a hell of a ride and constituted one of my most painful lessons of my life. It helped me draw my ethical boundaries a little firmer again. The lesson in question was, provided by a Filipino and much more fanatical version of Pablo, a dogmatic Marxist with triple identities who saw Europeans like myself as pawns in a post-colonial guilt trip, and not as the friendly cosmopolitan neighbor I fancy myself to be. In places like the Philippines, Spain and Argentina, where dictators have now made way for fragile democracies, political art is slowly, gradually beginning to be replaced by collaborative neighborhood art. Having spent time in these places, when not all that long ago they were considerably more polarized, has helped me become aware of my own ethical boundaries in the work I do in the Netherlands. Revisiting them unexpectedly recently in Madrid and Amsterdam has prompted me to formulate these boundaries in words for you here. I hope you haven't minded too much. I can't presume to speak for any other place than my own. Sorry, stop. This is the very last thing. Because each context, each reality, each perspective is built upon layer of very personal experiences. Speaking only for the Netherlands then, I can say that I see community art as a powerful enhancer of cultural democracy. It provides an opportunity for unheard, invisible stories to be heard and seen, and to be launched into the public arena in the most powerful artistic forms imaginable. Everyone, and not only those who deem themselves to be geniuses and virtuosos, or whose mouths happen to be the loudest or most eloquent. Thank you.